The emptiness of space stretched before Lieutenant James Cooper as he guided his scout vessel, the Sparrow through the testing zone. The small ship hummed beneath his fingertips, responsive and agile, as he maneuvered it toward the experimental wormhole generator that hung like a massive metal ring against the blackness of space. "Control, this is Cooper. Beginning approach to test coordinates," he reported, his voice steady despite the flutter of excitement in his chest. This was routine, the 5th test this month, but something about pushing the boundaries of human exploration never lost its thrill. "Copy that, Cooper. Maintain course. Generator powering up now," replied the calm voice of Mission Director Thomas through his headset. Cooper watched as the ring began to glow with blue energy, pulsing as it prepared to create a stable wormhole. The readings on his console showed everything proceeding normally. The Sparrow was designed for these tests, small enough to be nimble, but equipped with the latest sensors to gather valuable data. Energy readings normal. "Preparing for data collection run," Cooper said, adjusting his course slightly. The plan was simple: approach the wormhole's edge, gather readings, and withdraw. No actual traversal was scheduled for today. The blue glow intensified, forming a swirling disk of energy within the ring. Cooper had seen this 4 times before, but the sight still took his breath away. Humanity reaching out to bend the very fabric of space. Then something changed. The blue energy flickered, turned purple, then a deep crimson. "Control, I'm seeing unusual color shifts in the wormhole formation," Cooper reported, his training kicking in as his hand moved to the retreat sequence. "Reading it too, Cooper. Back away immediately. We have unusual power fluctuations." The transmission cut off as a massive surge of energy erupted from the wormhole. The shockwave hit the Sparrow like a physical blow, sending it tumbling backward. Warning lights flashed across Cooper's console as the ship's systems overloaded. "Control, I'm losing stabilizers," Cooper shouted, fighting with the controls as the small scout ship was pulled toward the now violently pulsing wormhole. No response came through his headset, only static. The wormhole's interference was blocking communications. Cooper's training took over as he tried to restart the engines, which had shut down from the power surge. The Sparrow continued its drift toward the distorted wormhole, now an angry red vortex that seemed to reach out toward his ship with tendrils of energy. The engine sputtered, then failed again. Cooper's fingers flew across the emergency restart sequence, but it was too late. The Sparrow crossed the threshold of the wormhole, and reality itself seemed to stretch around him. The sensation was impossible to describe, like being pulled in every direction at once while simultaneously compressed to a single point. Cooper felt a scream tear from his throat, but couldn't hear it over the roaring in his ears. The ship's hull groaned under forces it was never designed to withstand. Then, darkness. When Cooper opened his eyes, his head pounded with the worst headache he'd ever experienced. The ship's emergency lights cast a dim red glow over the cockpit. The main systems were offline, but the backup life support hummed quietly, keeping him alive. "Control, this is Cooper, do you read?" he croaked, tasting blood where he'd bitten his tongue. Only static answered him. Slowly, painfully, he pulled himself upright in his seat and began the reboot sequence for the main computer. After several agonizing minutes, the screens flickered to life, and Cooper felt his blood run cold as he stared at the navigational display. Nothing looked familiar. None of the star patterns matched any in the ship's database. The computer struggled to find reference points, finally displaying a message that made Cooper's stomach drop. Location, even known. Possible MATC. Andromeda Galaxy. 99.7% CO ENC*. "That's impossible," Cooper whispered to the empty cockpit. "Andromeda is 2.5 million light-years away." But as he looked out through the view screen at the unfamiliar stars and the faint smudge of a spiral galaxy that was definitely not the Milky Way, Cooper realized the impossible had happened. He was lost, alone, in another galaxy entirely. Cooper stared at the blinking energy signature on his scanner for the 10th time. It was his only hope. The Sparrow drifted through the unfamiliar space of Andromeda, its life support systems struggling to maintain breathable air. 3 days had passed since the wormhole accident, and Cooper had rationed his emergency supplies carefully. Just a little further, he muttered to himself, guiding the damaged ship toward the mysterious signal. The Sparrow's engines groaned in protest, but held together as he approached what appeared to be a massive asteroid. As he drew closer, Cooper realized this was no ordinary space rock. The asteroid had been hollowed out, with lights glimmering from countless openings across its cratered surface. Spacecraft of various designs moved around it like busy insects around a hive. An outpost, Cooper whispered in awe. An alien outpost. He activated the Sparrow's communication system, broadcasting a universal greeting message on all frequencies. For several tense minutes, there was no response. Then a scratchy voice came through his speakers. "Unidentified vessel, state your purpose and origin." Cooper swallowed hard before responding. "This is Lieutenant James Cooper of Earth Space Corps. My ship is damaged, and I require assistance." Another long pause followed. "Approach Docking Bay 17. Follow the guide lights. Any deviation will result in immediate defensive action." A series of blue lights appeared, forming a path toward one of the smaller openings in the asteroid's surface. Cooper carefully maneuvered the Sparrow along the designated route, his heart pounding in his chest. First contact. He was about to make humanity's first contact with intelligent life from another galaxy. The docking bay was a cavernous space, filled with various spacecraft. Most looked nothing like the sleek designs humans favored. Some resembled crystalline structures, others were organic-looking masses that pulsed with internal light. As the Sparrow settled onto the landing platform, Cooper saw a group of figures approaching. He checked his emergency suit for integrity, unsure if the atmosphere would be breathable, then opened his hatch and stepped out to meet the welcoming committee. The aliens were unlike anything Cooper had imagined. Standing about 5 feet tall, they resembled giant insects with iridescent exoskeletons and multiple limbs. Their heads bore compound eyes that reflected Cooper's own image back at him in fractured patterns. "Human," said the foremost alien, its mandibles clicking as it formed the word. "We have not encountered your kind before." Cooper nodded, momentarily speechless before finding his voice. "I was pulled through a wormhole accident. I'm from very far away." "The scanning devices confirm your vessel has traversed an extraordinary distance," the alien replied. "I am Trade Overseer Crix of the Vrel Consortium. This is Helion Trading Outpost." "I'm grateful for your help, Overseer Crix," Cooper said, trying to maintain his composure despite the surreal situation. "My ship is damaged, and I need repairs if I'm to have any chance of returning home." Crix's antennae twitched. "Your technology is unusual, primitive in some aspects, surprisingly advanced in others." The alien gestured toward the Sparrow. "Our engineers will examine it, but repairs require payment." "I don't have whatever currency you use here," Cooper admitted. "Knowledge is also currency," Crix responded. "Your world's technology might contain unique innovations worth trading for." Cooper nodded cautiously. "I can share some information, but I need to understand more about where I am. This galaxy, Andromeda, how is it organized? Who controls what?" Crix led Cooper through the busy trading post, past shops and stalls operated by dozens of different alien species. Cooper tried not to stare, but the diversity of life forms was overwhelming. "This sector falls under the influence of the Meridian Collective," Crix explained. "They are the dominant power in this region, technologically superior and not always benevolent. They collect specimens of unique life forms for study." "Specimens?" Cooper asked, feeling a chill. "Yes," Crix replied, compound eyes gleaming. "And a human from another galaxy would be quite the prize for their collection. You should avoid their attention at all costs." Cooper looked back at his damaged ship, suddenly aware of his vulnerability. He wasn't just lost anymore. He was potentially being hunted in a galaxy where humans were unknown, where he was the alien curiosity. "Tell me more about these meridians," Cooper said grimly. "And how soon can we get my ship functioning again?" Cooper ran his hand along the newly patched hull of the Sparrow, admiring the alien metallurgy that now kept his ship intact. After 2 weeks at the Helion trading outpost, the scout vessel was finally space-worthy again, at least for short journeys. "The repairs are complete," Crix announced, his insectoid limbs clicking against the deck as he approached. "But I must emphasize that your vessel cannot traverse the distance back to your Milky Way. Not without significant upgrades." Cooper nodded grimly. "I understand. But sitting here will only attract attention from the Meridian Collective. I need to find a way home." "There might be one possibility," Crix said, his antennae twitching thoughtfully. "Legends speak of a race called the Architects. Their technology surpassed all others in this galaxy. If anyone possessed the knowledge to send you home, it would be them." "Where can I find these Architects?" Cooper asked, hope flickering in his chest for the first time since his arrival. Crix projected a star chart from a small device in his upper limb. Their territories were said to be here, in the outer spiral arm. But beware, many have sought the Architects and never returned. Cooper studied the map carefully. "It's better than no plan at all. I've traded enough Earth technology to fuel the Sparrow and stock supplies. I leave tomorrow." "Take this." Crix handed him a small metallic disc. "It identifies you as under Vrel protection. It may help in your journey." The next morning, Cooper guided the Sparrow away from the asteroid outpost. The ship handled differently with its hybrid repairs, but responded well enough as he set course for the coordinates Crix had provided. 3 days into his journey, Cooper navigated through a dense asteroid field, the debris of some ancient planetary collision. The Sparrow's enhanced sensors, a trade for Earth's satellite technology, mapped a safe path through the dangerous rocks. Suddenly, an alarm blared. The sensors detected weapons fire ahead. Cooper slowed the Sparrow. Considering his options, the rational choice was to avoid the conflict entirely. But curiosity and his military training pushed him forward carefully. Through a gap in the asteroids, Cooper spotted a small transport under attack by a larger vessel. The transport's engines were damaged, and it was clearly outmatched by the sleek, predatory craft firing upon it. "Pirates," Cooper muttered, recognizing the universal nature of raiders even in this foreign galaxy. Without fully thinking through his decision, Cooper activated the Sparrow's newly installed defense systems, another trade with a weapons merchant at the outpost. He targeted the raider ship's weapon arrays and fired. The surprise attack caught the pirates off guard. Cooper's shots disabled their main weapons, and after a brief exchange of fire, the raider vessel retreated, disappearing behind a large asteroid. "This is Lieutenant Cooper of Earth," he broadcast to the damaged transport. "Are you in need of assistance?" After a moment of static, a surprised voice responded. "Earth? I don't know this world. But yes, we need help. Our engines are failing." Cooper maneuvered the Sparrow alongside the transport, then used a magnetic tether to stabilize it. When the airlock connected the two ships, Cooper was surprised to see a nearly human figure emerge, tall and slender with pale blue skin and silvery hair, but otherwise remarkably humanoid. "I am Marcus," the alien said, extending 4-fingered hands in greeting. "Navigator and cartographer of Thalassa. You saved my life, stranger from Earth." "James Cooper," he replied, shaking the alien's hand. "Just happened to be passing through." Marcus studied him with curious silver eyes. "Your species is unknown to me, and I have mapped most civilizations in this sector. I'm from another galaxy," Cooper explained. "An accident brought me here. I'm trying to find the Architects, hoping they might have technology to send me home." Marcus's eyes widened. "The Architects. They are more than legend, then." He hesitated before continuing. "My ship carries star charts more detailed than any in this quadrant. I was returning to Thalassa with them when those raiders attacked. I can help repair your ship, Cooper offered. Better yet, Marcus said, come to Thalassa. My people would welcome you, and my charts might help you find what you seek. It is the least I can offer my rescuer. Cooper considered the offer. A detour from his planned route, but the promise of better navigation data and a safe haven was too valuable to ignore. Lead the way, Cooper said, feeling for the first time that he might have found an ally in this vast, unknown galaxy. The first glimpse of Thalassa took Cooper's breath away. The planet shimmered like a blue jewel against the darkness of space, its surface almost entirely covered by ocean. As the Sparrow followed Marcus' repaired transport into the atmosphere, Cooper saw the floating cities, massive structures that rode the waves like islands made of gleaming metal and translucent materials. Welcome to Unda, our capital city, Marcus said through the communication link as they approached the largest of the floating structures. Prepare for water landing. Your ship can handle it, yes? Technically, yes, Cooper replied, eyeing his control panel nervously. But I've never actually done a water landing before. Follow my descent pattern exactly, Marcus instructed. Our guidance systems will assist you. Cooper guided the Sparrow down, feeling the ship shudder as it touched the ocean surface. Stabilizing pontoons automatically deployed, part of the Realm modifications, and the ship bobbed gently on the waves as it was guided toward a docking bay that extended from the city's edge. A crowd of Thalassans had gathered by the time Cooper emerged from his ship. They resembled Marcus. Tall, slender beings with blue skin in various shades and silvery hair that seemed to flow like water even in the still air. They watched Cooper with undisguised curiosity. An older Thalassan stepped forward, his skin a deep navy blue. I am Elder Nerio, city administrator, he said in a melodious voice. Marcus tells us you are from beyond our galaxy. This is difficult to believe. Cooper stood straight, aware he was representing all of humanity. It's true. I'm from a planet called Earth in the Milky Way galaxy. A wormhole accident brought me here. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Elder Nerio's expression remained skeptical. He saved my life, Marcus interjected. Pirates would have taken my ship and charts if not for his intervention. Be that as it may, Elder Nerio replied, we must be cautious. The Meridian Collective has spies everywhere, and strangers often bring trouble. I understand your concern, Cooper said. I don't plan to stay long, just enough to study Marcus's charts and continue my journey. I'm looking for the architects. This caused an even stronger reaction among the crowd. Elder Nerio's eyes widened. Come, he said abruptly. This discussion should not happen in public. Cooper was led through the floating city, marveling at its structure. Buildings seemed to grow from the platform itself, formed of materials that shifted color with the changing light. Thalassans moved with fluid grace through the curved streets, many pausing to stare at the human stranger. In a circular chamber at the city's center, Elder Nerio and a council of Thalassans listened as Cooper explained his situation in greater detail. He described Earth, the wormhole experiment, and his quest to find a way home. The architects are not just legend, Elder Nerio finally acknowledged after Cooper finished, but they vanished centuries ago. Their last known sanctuary lies in the celestial void, a dangerous region beyond the reach of most navigators. My charts show possible routes, Marcus added, but the journey would be perilous, especially in your small vessel. I have no choice, Cooper replied. I need to try. For the next few days, Cooper was given quarters in the city while technicians examined the Sparrow, upgrading its systems with Thalassan technology. Cooper shared knowledge of Earth's engineering in exchange, finding the Thalassans to be quick learners and brilliant innovators. He spent evenings studying Marcus's detailed star charts, planning a route to the architect's sanctuary. The more Cooper learned about Andromeda, the more he realized how fortunate he'd been. The galaxy was divided among competing powers, with the Meridian Collective gradually expanding their territory through force and intimidation. On the fifth day, Alarms echoed throughout the floating city. Cooper rushed to the command center where Elder Nerio stood staring at a projection of space above the planet. "A Meridian probe," the Elder said grimly. "It's scanning the surface." Cooper watched as a sleek, dart-like vessel moved in a systematic pattern around the planet. "Do they do this often?" he asked. "Never before," Marcus replied, his expression troubled. "They must have detected your ship's unique signature. You've brought their attention to Thalassa." Cooper felt a cold weight in his stomach. His presence had endangered these people who had shown him kindness. "I should leave immediately," he said. Elder Nerio shook his head. "Not while the probe is still scanning. But yes, soon. For all our safety." Cooper looked at the peaceful floating city and made a silent promise. Before he left, he would help the Thalassans prepare for what might come. Earth military knowledge might give them a fighting chance against the Collective. His path home had become even more complicated, but Cooper couldn't abandon allies to face danger alone. Cooper crouched behind a twisted rock formation, holding his breath as the Meridian patrol ship passed overhead. Its searchlights swept the barren moon's surface, seeking any sign of the human fugitive. For 3 weeks now, he had been playing this deadly game of hide and seek across the outer systems. "The Earthborn anomaly cannot hide forever," boomed a mechanical voice from the ship's external speakers. "Surrender for study and preservation. Resistance is illogical." Cooper checked the portable scanner he built using Thalassan technology. The patrol ship's energy signature was finally moving away. He allowed himself to breathe again. Leaving Thalassa had been the right decision. 2 days after his departure, the Meridian Collective had sent a full research vessel to the ocean planet. Thanks to Cooper's help, the Thalassans had improved their cloaking systems and defensive capabilities. They had hidden their floating cities beneath energy shields that mimicked natural ocean patterns. The Meridians had found nothing of interest and eventually departed. But Cooper wasn't so lucky. His unique ship had been flagged in Meridian databases, and now they hunted him across the sector. Specimen is of unknown biological classification. He had heard them report during one close encounter. Priority acquisition for the archive of sentient evolution. Cooper had no intention of becoming a specimen in some alien zoo. He powered up his modified communicator, sending a brief encrypted message to the resistance network he discovered during his flight. Sparrow to Nebula. Moonbase compromised. Moving to fallback point. Need extraction. The response came almost immediately. Nebula to Sparrow. Extraction in 6 hours at coordinates Echo 9. Destroy this communicator. Cooper smiled grimly. The resistance fighters, a loose coalition of species who opposed Meridian expansion, had become his lifeline. He had earned their trust by sharing Earth military tactics that were unknown in Andromeda. Guerrilla warfare wasn't commonly practiced here. Most conflicts involved direct confrontation between advanced weapon systems. Cooper's knowledge of ambushes, misdirection, and asymmetric tactics had proven invaluable to the outgunned resistance. He gathered his limited supplies and headed toward the extraction point, carefully avoiding the open plains where Meridian scanners could easily detect him. The journey took 5 hours of cautious movement through canyons and cave systems. As Cooper reached the designated coordinates, a small crater surrounded by high ridges, he spotted the extraction vessel already waiting. It was disguised as a mining ship, bulky and unassuming, but Cooper knew it carried powerful weapons beneath its shabby exterior. "You cut it close, Earthmen," growled Drax, a reptilian resistance leader whose scaled skin shifted colors with his mood. Currently a wary orange. The Meridians have deployed their hunters in this sector. Hunters? Cooper asked as he climbed aboard the ship. Elite trackers. Not droids, not quite alive either. Something in between, Drax explained, sealing the hatch. They never stop once they have your scent. The ship lifted off, its engines surprisingly quiet for such a bulky vessel. They skimmed just above the moon's surface, using the terrain to mask their departure from orbital sensors. "We received your transmission about the Meridian scout ship," Drax said once they reached safe distance. "You really think we can capture it?" Cooper nodded. Every Meridian vessel I've observed follows the same patrol pattern. They're predictable, a weakness we can exploit. And you believe their technology could help you reach these architects you seek. Their navigation systems are far more advanced than anything I've cobbled together. With a Meridian scout ship, I could safely traverse the celestial void. Drax's scales shifted to a thoughtful blue. It's never been done before, capturing a Meridian vessel intact. That's why it might work, Cooper replied. They won't expect it. For 3 days, Cooper worked with a small team of resistance fighters, preparing the ambush. They set up on an asteroid in the path of the Meridian scout ship's regular patrol route. When the sleek silver vessel appeared, they executed Cooper's plan perfectly. First, a small decoy vessel drew the scouts' attention. Then precisely timed electromagnetic pulses disabled its weapons and propulsion systems. Before the Meridians could send a distress signal, the resistance team had boarded and secured the ship. Cooper stood on the bridge of the captured vessel, examining its advanced control systems. The Meridian crew, 3 tall, pale beings with unsettling blank eyes, had been taken as prisoners by the resistance. You've given us a significant victory, Drax said, his scales now a pleased green. The resistance owes you a debt. Cooper shook his head. Consider it repaid with this ship. Now I can continue my journey to find the architects. As Cooper prepared the captured scout ship for his most dangerous journey yet, he knew the Meridian Collective would intensify their hunt. But for the first time since arriving in Andromeda, Cooper felt a real chance of finding his way home. The coordinates to the architect's sanctuary were set. The celestial void awaited. The captured Meridian scout ship sliced through the darkness of the celestial void, a region of space where stars seemed few and far between. Cooper checked the navigation systems for the 5th time, reassuring himself that they were still on course. The ship's advanced sensors kept warning of spatial anomalies ahead, distortions in the fabric of reality that made this region so dangerous to traverse. Just hold together a little longer, Cooper muttered to himself, patting the control panel. After 3 weeks of travel through increasingly treacherous space, the coordinates from Marcus's charts promised that his destination was close. The ship shuddered as it passed through another gravity well. Cooper compensated quickly, having learned to pilot the alien craft through trial and error. Its neural interface still felt strange against his temples, but he had mastered the basics of thought-guided navigation. A soft alert chimed, and Cooper felt his heart rate increase. The sensors had detected a planetary body ahead, exactly where the architect's sanctuary should be. Finally, he whispered, leaning forward as the viewscreen adjusted to show a distant world. As the ship drew closer, Cooper's excitement turned to confusion, then disappointment. Instead of an advanced civilization, he saw a barren, gray planet. Its surface was pockmarked with craters and what appeared to be the ruins of once magnificent structures. Whatever civilization had existed here was long gone. No, Cooper said, his voice hollow. They can't be gone. He guided the ship into orbit, scanning the surface. The readings confirmed his fears. No life signs, no energy signatures, nothing to suggest anyone remained on this dead world. His last hope of finding a way home seemed to crumble before his eyes. Still, Cooper refused to give up. He identified what appeared to be a massive structure near the planet's equator, larger and more intact than the surrounding ruins, and set a course for landing. The ship touched down on a vast plaza of stone-like material that had withstood whatever catastrophe befell this world. Cooper donned his environmental suit, checked his oxygen supply, and stepped out onto the surface of the architect's homeworld. The gravity was slightly stronger than Earth's, making each step feel heavy. Cooper trudged toward the looming structure ahead, a towering spire that reached at least a mile into the sky, its surface etched with intricate patterns that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. At the base of the spire, Cooper found what appeared to be an entrance, a triangular doorway twice his height. As he approached, the patterns around the doorway began to glow with a soft blue light, and the solid surface simply vanished, revealing a passage into the structure. "That's unexpected," Cooper said to himself, gathering his courage before stepping inside. The interior was illuminated by the same soft blue light that seemed to have no specific source. Cooper followed a corridor that spiraled gently upward, passing chambers filled with objects he couldn't begin to comprehend. Devices that floated without support, materials that changed state as he watched, and displays showing what might have been mathematical equations of staggering complexity. After what felt like hours of exploration, Cooper entered a vast circular chamber at the heart of the spire. At its center stood a pedestal supporting a swirling orb of light. As Cooper approached, the orb pulsed brighter, and suddenly a figure materialized before him. A tall, slender being made of what appeared to be pure energy, its form vaguely humanoid but constantly shifting. "Identify species," said a voice that seemed to bypass Cooper's ears and speak directly to his mind. Startled, Cooper stepped back. "Human. From Earth. Milky Way galaxy." The energy being paused, then expanded slightly. "Human. Cataloged. Last contact. 12,473 standard cycles ago. Status. Developing species. Caretaker protocol activated." "What are you?" Cooper asked, his voice echoing in the chamber. "This is an automated custodial interface. I maintain the repository until the architects return or a designated inheritor species claims access." Cooper's pulse quickened. "The architects. Where did they go? When will they return?" The architects transcended physical form 2,186 cycles ago. Return probability. Unknown. This facility maintains their knowledge until worthy successors emerge. "I need help," Cooper explained desperately. "I'm stranded in this galaxy. I need to return to Earth." The being seemed to study him. "Scan indicates human technological development has progressed significantly since last contact." Query: "How did you traverse intergalactic space?" Cooper explained the wormhole accident that brought him to Andromeda. As he spoke, the energy being projected images that matched his description, as if visualizing his story. "Fascinating," the custodian replied when Cooper finished. "The architects visited your world during its early development. They left wormhole technology buried beneath your planet's surface as an inheritance for when humanity reached sufficient advancement." "They came to Earth?" Cooper asked, astonished. Many worlds were seeded with knowledge. Earth was of particular interest due to its biodiversity and the potential of its dominant species. The custodian glided toward a wall, which rippled and transformed into what appeared to be a star map. "Wormhole coordinates for Earth exist within the repository. You may download this data to your vessel." Hope surged through Cooper for the first time in months. "You mean I can go home?" Before the custodian could respond, an alarm blared from Cooper's portable scanner. The Meridian Collective had found him. Multiple warships were entering orbit around the planet. "Your pursuers have arrived," the custodian observed calmly. "They have sought the repository for centuries." Cooper looked desperately between the star map and his scanner. "I need those coordinates now." The ground shook as Meridian weapons fire struck the surface outside the spire. Cooper braced himself against the pedestal, eyes fixed on the custodian. "I need those Earth coordinates now," he shouted, the energy being moved with sudden urgency, flowing toward the Meridian scout ship's data port that Cooper had brought with him. Transferring wormhole specifications and Earth coordinates. Warning: your vessel requires modifications to safely generate a stable wormhole. Cooper watched as complex schematics flowed into the data port. "Will I have time to make these modifications before they break through?" "Negative," replied the custodian. "But this facility can assist." The floor beneath the Meridian ship component began to glow. Tiny machines, smaller than insects, swarmed over it, reconfiguring its internal structure according to the architect's designs. "You must return to your vessel immediately," the custodian instructed. "This facility's defensive systems can delay the Meridian forces temporarily." Another blast rocked the spire, closer this time. Cooper grabbed the modify component and sprinted back toward the entrance, following a path of guiding lights the custodian provided. "What about you?" Cooper called back. "And all this knowledge?" "I will initiate Protocol Omega," the custodian's voice replied in his mind. "The repository's data will be broadcast to multiple locations across the galaxy. The architects intended their knowledge to be shared, not hoarded." Cooper emerged from the spire to see 3 Meridian landing craft descending toward the plaza. He ducked behind a fallen column. Calculating the distance to his ship, it was too far to reach without being spotted. Suddenly, massive energy beams shot up from the planet's surface, striking 2 of the Meridian vessels. They spiraled out of control, crashing into the ruins. The spire itself now pulsed with power, its defensive systems activated. "Now," the custodian's voice urged in Cooper's mind. "Run." Cooper sprinted across the plaza as debris from the Meridian ships rained down around him. He reached his vessel, sealed the hatch, and quickly integrated the modified component into the ship's systems. New controls appeared on the interface, labeled in a language he somehow understood. Through the view screen, Cooper watched as Meridian ground troops advanced toward the spire. The structure's defenses were weakening under the combined assault of the remaining ships in orbit. The ship's engines roared to life as Cooper initiated the launch sequence. He felt a momentary pang of regret, knowing that the repository and its custodian would likely be destroyed or captured after his departure. As if sensing his thoughts, the custodian's voice spoke one final time in his mind. "The knowledge is safe. It has been transmitted to your resistance allies. The Meridian Collective's dominance is ending." The ship blasted off the surface, accelerating rapidly toward space. Meridian warships moved to intercept, their weapons charging. Cooper pushed the engines beyond safe limits, feeling the vessel shake violently as it climbed higher. "Let's see what this wormhole generator can do," Cooper muttered, activating the new controls. Ahead of his ship, space itself began to distort. A swirling blue vortex formed, smaller than the experimental generator back home, but stable. The Meridian ships fired, energy beams slicing through space just behind him. Cooper aimed directly for the wormhole, his hand steady despite the chaos around him. Earth coordinates locked. "Let's go home." The ship plunged into the vortex. Cooper felt the now familiar sensation of reality stretching around him, but something was different this time. The journey felt controlled, directed. Through the view screen, he saw streams of light and energy passing in patterns too complex to comprehend. Then, darkness. Cooper awoke to warning alarms. His ship had emerged from the wormhole, systems strained but functional. He looked out at the stars, searching for any familiar patterns. Nothing looked right at first, until his eyes fell on a bright blue marble hanging in the darkness. Earth. The ship's sensors confirmed what his eyes could scarcely believe. He had made it back to the solar system, just beyond Mars' orbit. Almost home. Cooper activated the communication system, adjusting it to broadcast on Earth Space Corps' emergency frequencies. His hands trembled as he recorded his message. "This is Lieutenant James Cooper of Earth Space Corps, pilot of the Sparrow. I'm coming home." As the message transmitted, Cooper leaned back in his seat, tears forming in his eyes. The journey back would take days at his current speed, but that didn't matter. After months lost in another galaxy, he had brought back knowledge that would transform humanity's understanding of the universe. And more importantly, he had survived to tell the tale. On Earth, at Mission Control, a technician stared in disbelief at her console as an impossible signal appeared. "Director Thomas," she called, her voice shaking. "You need to hear this." The room fell silent as Lieutenant James Cooper's voice filled the command center. "This is Lieutenant James Cooper of Earth Space Corps, pilot of the Sparrow. I'm coming home."